Hi, I'm David Belsky. I'm sitting here with Elliot Lane, one of the co-founders of IgniteIt. Thanks for joining us today.
Hey, thanks for having me, David. Always a pleasure to see you, man. Best shirt in town, best beard in town. It's a pleasure.
Oh, stop it. Well, I got this shirt to go to one of your events. We got to get going to South Florida again so I can wear it out in the industry.
On the docket, man, on the docket. More to come in 2026, but I'll say that my co-founders are actively looking for reasons to go back to Miami or Hollywood. So,
I believe it. They're smart folks. But it's also about like a destination where people will want to come to, and we'll talk more about that, as we go here. But you basically broke the internet recently when you announced that you were starting Ignite It and you were taking the cannabis events, formerly known as Benzinga, and you were taking them on and putting more resources into it, making it your exclusive focus. So, how do you introduce yourself now? Are you the co-founder of Ignite It? And what is Ignite It?
yeah. Ignite It is a media and events platform for nascent industries, right? I think people know us, and my network is inherently in cannabis. I would assume if you're watching this, you've probably heard of Benzinga Cannabis. If you haven't, Benzinga is kind of a stock capital markets focused platform for individuals to grow their own personal wealth. 8+ years ago, actually, I think maybe longer than 13 years ago, Javier Haas, who's now the managing editor both at IgniteIt and High Times, as well as Jason Raznick, started the cannabis news desk at Benzinga to basically offer a high reward, obviously high risk, but high reward opportunity for individuals to benefit off of a new industry in cannabis. With that events eventually spurned out of it. They started a small cap events where companies would pitch to investors in a presentation format. We did those 4 times a year at first in Florida, Detroit, Toronto, and Chicago. Eventually, across COVID, it became an event where we had kind of panel industry focused discussions still from a financial and capital markets perspective, which we still do today. And then, really twice a year down to once a year. This year, actually, this is the first year we held one central event, mainly because we launched a new series last year, the Spotlight series. But I'm getting long-winded. We're media and events. We're here to provide a platform for cannabis. We're here to make sure that companies um, are able to connect with each other and drive business and grow this industry into a mature, regulated space with organized lobbying and advocacy, that will be around, um, uh, indefinitely, and be a $100 billion market, right? I mean, that is our goal is to participate and provide that platform.
Yeah, and then so early on, the idea of providing analysis of from a capital markets perspective of the cannabis industry, which all the big trading houses and
Mhm.
financial news sites weren't doing, that was kind of the entrance into the industry through that initial platform, and then it's turned into, something bigger from that. And I will say you might have only done one, flagship big conference this year in Chicago. Is my favorite event of the year. So you still
Thank you.
one of the things I like about your events, Elliot, is you do a good job of getting people to show up that are the right people. It's very concentrated, and ultimately, it's a time for people that are currently doing business with each other to check in on the relationship. It's a time for finding additional folks that you may want to do business with, and at least building a foundation of a relationship with somebody you may eventually work with. And
Hmm.
it's a time to learn more about what's happening in the industry. For me, I haven't approached it from a capital markets perspective, but I know, you know, at the event and around the event, all the biggest sort of companies that have real third party money into them are doing meetings with their investors, and their boards are in town, and big things are actually occurring because it is a capital markets conference.
Hmm.
But I'm approaching it in a different lens than some people do, I think. But okay, so you mentioned these other events. So you had the one flagship one in Chicago, and you've been doing these
Hmm.
market spotlights. I think last year you started them. How are those different, and what are those about, and why have they been a great success for the folks that attend?
Yeah, I think our larger event is widely known as an investor conference, right? And I think while we we'll always hold the mantle, right? And always try to hold that mantle as best we can. It's tough. It's tough for financing, as everybody knows. I'm not, enlightening anybody with that statement. We still are, I think, the room with the most amount of capital in it by far. In Chicago. But these spotlights differ in the sense that we are diving into obstacles directly centered around state markets, right? So obstacles in California are massively different from obstacles in New Jersey. And there are two very different stages of maturity, comparing the two markets. So we can't cover that in Chicago. And to be frank, we can't really dive in and meet the people who are growing their market share, and feature them in an effective way in Chicago, but these spotlights allow us to expand the platform, offer the platform to more people, offer more strategic education, i.e., in California, from people like Lauren Carpenter at Embark, right? From people like Matt Rakow at Nug and Lunar Luisa at Wellgreens, right? We met them through our California spotlight, and a couple of those operators have doubled their footprint in what is the most difficult to market to operate in. Why would we not want to hear from them and how they're
Right.
doing it, right? That type of education is something that these spotlights allow us to offer, right? And we go in a way that allows the event to be accessible to business, executives and owners. Our ticket prices average around like 175. And in that 175, not only are we feeding you, but we're also giving you access to some of the fastest growing operators, cultivators, manufacturers, retailers, the largest brands. This next California event, our keynote is the Secretary of Treasury for California, who is running unopposed right now for Lieutenant Governor of California. Right. So that's a heck of a value.
Right.
Right. And that's
Right.
what we try and create is say, hey, if you want to be in a room with other leaders of this industry, if you want to be a leader of the industry, then create your own luck. Right. You don't, an entrepreneur doesn't just get lucky, right? You have worked for that luck. And I think we provide the rooms where you can work for that.
I think I agree. You can learn from people that are doing it. You can find your partners necessary to succeed. And I think this industry is so fragmented. They're
Hmm.
like I love the national conference, of course, but like the every state is a big state, and we as Flower Hire work with clients across probably 20 different states actively as of right
Oh.
now, currently, right? And so I will say that I really enjoy personally the difference on a state by state basis between the folks in this industry. I was in, Missouri a couple weeks ago. I was like, this is wholesome, unbelievable. And I was in New York last week, and I'm like, there is so much unbridled raw energy and try hard in this room right now and enthusiasm. It's like overwhelming, right?
Hmm.
So, but every state is different, and I think that I love that you're finding an opportunity for the local operators in the industry to have a place to come, and the folks in the industry that work with it and or curious about it. Like
Yeah.
your events are the ones that I want to attend because there's value there based on the caliber of the information and the caliber of the people in the room. So, you know, you wanted to protect that too. Like, so there was the reason you just started your own thing, and now like IgniteIt, and what is the goal of IgniteIt over the next several years, you think?
Yeah, so I think for us, the biggest growth opportunity for cannabis that it needs right now is additional platforms, right? I mean, we've seen multiple media brands fold up, and I want to be clear here, that's not what happened, right? Through this split in a very amicable way, right? This allows both Benzinga to grow and be a value-added platform for retail investors, and allows us to grow deeper into the cannabis space, and we're doing so amicably. And I'm super excited about that. But we are now a media platform that doesn't have to worry about what a larger media company is allowing, cannabis companies to do on our site, cannabis companies to participate within on our site. And I think that is, you'll see an active difference in terms of how we talk about cannabis. We will no longer just be a stock platform. We are absolutely going to host stock news and investor news. We are still a capital markets and business focused site and platform. But at the end of the day, I think we want to provide a full perspective of the industry, right? And we want to do so in a mature manner so that when new money comes in, I mean, there's a lot of rumbling right now about rescheduling coming very soon, right? I'm sure we've all heard it for the thousandth time. I've heard it for the past 4 weeks straight that it's this week. Well, 4 weeks in, my cautious optimism is, I didn't hold my breath, thankfully, is
I
what I'll
don't believe
say.
it. I don't believe
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
but it'd be
yeah.
great if it happened. I
Yeah.
don't
I
believe it.
agree. I agree. But like, if that does happen, new money comes into the industry, and when that does happen, where are they getting their information? Right? There's not a holistic, advisory or investment bank anymore. Jeffries is out. TD and Cowen are out. Cantor is out. Right? So I think we want to be a mature site. We want to provide mature content, and we want to be a space where new capital can and current capital, can better understand the industry and get more holistic senses of what that means for their investments.
Right. And obviously, we all hope for a groundswell of institutional investment at any moment, and it'll happen. But like at the same time, what's funding in this industry a lot is family office, high net worth individual, and there's some real money in that category. And you know, and people like that will show up at your event if you are close by in proximity to them, and may help groups in the industry find capital just by creating that and facilitating that. And I love what you said about
Exactly.
the a business forward place. Is there consumption on the front steps outside and the public sidewalks? Probably, right? But who's the judge?
Absolutely, there is.
Absolutely. But who's the judge, right? But this is yeah, and again, just to double down on the cannabis side of the business, the industry needs it very much appreciated that you guys are have the vision and are sticking with it. Any business, any ancillary business in support of the cannabis industry is not straightforward or easy. You have to adapt, but you guys are definitely you're one of the good guys helping to build community in this industry, and that's why I
Yeah.
wanted to just hear your story a bit. And
Well,
anything you would say in terms of if folks want to get involved or attend one of your events, like what's the best thing to say?
yeah, thank you. We, just ignite or events.ignited.com. I had to remember my domain for a second
Is
because
that new?
I'm used to saying completely different domains.
Events.ignited.com.
Yeah, events.ignited.com. It'll get a lot more, home base central with ignited.com, but we're building out that website to be easy to navigate and to be value additive. Actually, as of the recording, our first piece was published today. Our first written piece. I think it's on the Cannabis Pot Lawyer Brothers. I'm butchering that name, but I actually still have to go read it. But I'm very excited, to launch more content on that website. So events.ignited.com, you'll find a list of our events. Next year's Chicago site is up, but we also have California October 8th, Cincinnati, focusing on the Ohio and Kentucky markets November 3rd, and then we'll be in DC for a Washington Wall Street and Cannabis Summit on November 17th. That is going to be an incredibly powerful and symbolic room. I think, this industry has historically had very divided lobbying efforts. And we want this room, that will have powerful operator executives in it, that will have capital in it, that will have policymakers in it, to come together and to, have those conversations about how we move forward together as one industry, because other industries do that, right?
Right, and that would be
Yeah,
let's unite the clans, right? So
exactly.
I'd love
And
to help.
both
Yeah,
clans have to unite and choose to
right,
unite, right?
right.
One clan can't like come to the table and the other's like, "Oh, glad you're finally
It's
here."
just too noisy. It's too noisy, and because
Yeah.
of that, the factions that are most organized are the ones that have the biggest voice in shaping
Hmm.
shaping. You know,
Well, and some would argue the biggest, whatever, right? That's driving, change. But I do think that we want to provide a room where these conversations are heard from all sides, and we're all talking about the betterment of this industry, and that type of community, I think, is necessary for the maturity of this industry. And, but we'll continue to listen to the industry and the platforms that they want. We're always open to feedback. Hit me up on LinkedIn. Shoot me an email, elliot@ignited.com. Now's the time to help us grow this the right way. And first things first is making sure that you get to hear David Belsky talk at every event because that man wears the best shirts.
oh, you stop. All right. Well, I look forward to seeing you at the events this year, and thanks for all that you do, and have a great day.
Thanks, David. Thanks for having me on, man.